Hi everyone, it's Sasha Reed. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to make a very simple shaker card. I'm going to walk you through it step by step and give you all the instructions. So we're starting here with your card base, which you need to cut at 10 and 1/4 inches long, and then you're going to score it at 5 1/8. And then you're also going to need your top piece of paper, which is going to be your decorative paper, which we're going to die cut, and your acetate. So those instructions will be there for a little while, but you can pause the video and write them down if you need. Using this set from Alina Cutle, and there are 5 hearts in the collection. So we're going to use the medium one of the 3 bigger ones. This is the paper pad I'm using. It's my new favourite one. You've probably seen it a ton. I keep using it on every project, so you're probably getting really sick of it, but I love it and I've bought a few more packs, so be aware, it's coming more. I like this because it's slightly thick cardstock, so it's really good. Then next I've got my acetate sheets. These are 220 microns, so it's quite a thicker one. You can use any packaging as long as it's clear. You can just cut it up and use it for your shaker cards, which would be really handy. And then you need some foam tape. So I've got this 1/4 inch foam tape. I can't remember where I got it from. Might have been Create and Craft. It might have been a Fix-It adhesives. I can't quite remember. I bought it ages ago, but it's really good. And I'll explain why I like the roll more than strips. And you need a bone folder just to kind of press your adhesive down and make it all stick. Then from Alina's store, I've also got some sequins. We got pink and then the teal, and then I've got some diamonds. So these are the ones that they're not flat back. They're 3-dimensional diamonds. 3-dimensional? I don't know if that's the right word, but they're diamonds, so they're very dimensional. So I've got those. So I'm doing a voiceover and it's really difficult because I can't remember what's coming up. Oh, here's the stamps that I'm using. This is also from Alina Cutle. Everything I've used in this video in terms of supplies has been from her shop. They are all things that she has sent me for my design team package. And so, yeah, I've used them all in this video and made this simple card. So we're starting with cutting a card base, and I do skip through bits of this so you don't have to sit there boringly and watch me cut everything. So here's our card base, and you can score it at 5 1/8, or you can just fold it in half like I do, which can go pear-shaped, but there we are. And then this is the cardstock I've used. It's from my favourite store in the UK, Lime Tree Crafts. It's a really, really thick cardstock. It works really, really well for being a card base. And then there's my decorative paper that I've chosen from my paper pack. And I cut this down to 5 by 5. And then we are going to then die cut our shape out of that. So that's going to be on the top of our card. Oh, it's going a bit slow here. There we go. There's the paper. So then you want to cut your pink paper. This is the bit that's going to show through that you're going to stamp on. So you want to cut that just slightly smaller than your top bit, just so that you can more easily stick it under. So you can see the edge I've got here. You want roughly that amount around the edge, so it's easier to adhere it once you've got all your foam and your bits for the inside. And there's my acetate, which I pre-cut so I could speed up things. So then you're going to take your heart, place it in the middle, or whatever shape you've got. Any shapes will do. You just want a nice big solid shape that cuts the middle out. I like this one because it's got the creased edge. This is my post-it note tape from Aliexpress that I bought. I'll try and link it below if I remember. And I just stick it on so that it keeps it in the center, and I've eyeballed it. You could measure and stick it on, but this is, I can't be asked. So then I've run it through my Big Shot. And there's the middle bit, which I'll save for another project, but that's the bit we want. We want the outside bit. So tuck all that to the side, and there we go. There's the middle bit, and then I'm now going to stick some adhesive on. Now you can use probably anything, but I would recommend a tape adhesive. If you use a liquid, it's going to take a while to dry. It might not dry so well because this is what's going to stick on the acetate. So I like to use some kind of tape adhesive, some kind of strong tape. Now I went through my stash, and this is a 1/4 inch tape, and I have got an absolute ton of it. I had no idea I had so much, so I'm using it like mad to try and use it up because I've just got too much. So here I've stuck down the tape, and I'm lifting it up using my picking tool just to kind of make it easier to lift it. And I'm using the bone folder in between each adhesive run. So I put the strips down and I rubbed it, and now I'm rubbing it again, or burnishing it, whatever it's called. You want to do this because you want it to stick really well, and that's why I quite like the sticky adhesive rather than a liquid glue. And here's my foam tape. And now this is where I'm going to slow it down to real time just so you can see what I'm doing. I like these rolls because I like to manipulate it. You can work it around your image. So you want to get as close as you can to the edge of your cutout, but you don't want to go, you don't want it to show through. So you just want to get it nice and close to the edge, and that will make sure that all your diamonds and things stay in the picture. So I like it a good solid shape because it's much easier to run the tape around. But this is why I like a roll of tape, because I can do it in one big roll. And when you come to take the backing off of it, or the release paper, it's much easier when you've got one big long strand of it than when you've got 15 million different little tiny bits. So I don't like to use foam squares or circles or any of those kind of things, just because I find it a bit more frustrating when it comes to taking it off before when I've got my jewels and things on the inside, or my glitter or sequins. So now I'm just doing the edge, the outside edge, to keep it all level and pop it up at the same height. So I could then here use some dimensionals and things, but I just stick with the same tape, so it's all the same height. I know that the thickness is all the same. And again, I can just do it in long big strips. So I think this tape is absolutely the best for doing shaker cards. It just works really nice. And again, I've got like 5 or 6 rolls of this stuff, so I've got plenty to use up. So I've gone and stuck it all around my edges and around my heart. And then I'm just going to rub it down again with my bone folder, just to make sure it's nice and stuck to that acetate, so it doesn't come off and doesn't lift, so my jewels don't get stuck. At this point I realize I've got a tiny gap at the top of my heart, and I just kind of chucked some foam up there just to make sure none of my sequins pop through that little hole and end up in between the foam, the 2 foam linings. So here's my sequins that I've chosen. I'd recommend pre-choosing them and having to think about what colors might go with each other, because I've made some before and they just look so crap because I've gone and put all the shakers in or all the sequins in and realized no, they don't match very well. They're not very nice colors together. So have a little think about what colors you want, and then have them ready to go. Otherwise you might end up with a bit of like an odd mixture and it might look a bit funny. So basically I'm just sprinkling a few in. You don't want too many because you want it to shake around the card. At this point I've realized I forgot to stamp my background bit. So I would recommend stamping this probably before you go and fill your shaker card up. But I'm using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink because it's nice and clear. It sticks really well to Aliexpress stamps. This is an Alina stamp again. And I've kind of lined it up in the middle of my grid paper. If you've got one of those grid mats, they're really good. So I've kind of stuck the card, you can see right dead smack in the middle, and then aimed for the middle with my stamping. Or you could use your stamping tool if you have one, like the Tim Holtz, what is it called? You know, the ones where they've got the like little closure on the top and you can just close it down and then re-stamp it if you need more ink, that kind of thing. I cannot for the life of me remember what it's called right now, just because I'm doing a video. But here I've removed all the release paper off the back. And then I'm just aiming for the center. I'm aiming to kind of have a little border around each side. And then I haven't had it go wrong yet in terms of getting my stamping in the middle. So then again, I'm just using this purely because I need to use up this tape. But at this point, I'd probably use a liquid adhesive, or I'd use my massive tape runner. I've got one of those, what are they called? Oh, never mind. One of those big guns that you can like roll on. It's like a tape runner but on steroids. My words are just not with me tonight. I'm so sorry. Anyways, I'm rubbing it down, but I'm just saying please. Well, I'm not saying it. I was saying it out loud to myself. I'm trying to remind myself to remind you not to rub hard at this point, because if you've got 3-dimensional diamonds like I have on mine, it pokes through the cardstock. So when you're rubbing, just rub gently. And just remember that you've got those jewels on the other side that will poke through your paper. So then you get your card ready. Make sure you've got the right way up. This is key. I've put these on so many times the wrong way up. So I've just made sure my card's opening the right way, and then I'm popping it on top. And that is it. It literally took me about 15 minutes to make this card. Dead easy, really fun, really effective, and you don't need that much. So that's the end of my card tutorial. I hope you've had a good time. Please drop me a comment below. I get really nervous about these voiceover ones because it's really hard to remember what in the heck is coming up in the video, and then I've got to slow things down, speed things up, and make it so it's not, you know, the longest video in the world. But that's the end of my video. And I've got another one here to show you as well, where I did it with the butterflies and a slightly different stamp set. But they're really quick and easy and lovely. And now I want to show you another card that I made just before I say goodbye. I had to make a get well soon card for a friend at church, and I had to make a quick big card that everyone at church could sign. And so I did this one with Alina's new letters, and it worked a treat. So I hope you enjoy that as well. This was an A4 card, so it's quite big. But thank you for joining me. See you again soon. Bye!